While preparing for a wilderness concert in Bellingham, Washington back in 1995, I walked into the room where my choral group would soon be rehearsing and suddenly saw a vision in my mind's eye. I saw a small group of people forming sacred geometric shapes with their physical bodies while toning and moving their bodies in ways that activated the essence energy of each shape. I heard the phrase sound sculpture and felt deeply drawn to learn more about what it was that I had just witnessed. Soon after that concert was over, I took a trip to the American Southwest to see if I could find any sound healers who might know what a sound sculpture was. No one I met knew anything about them, but over and over the term sacred geometry came up. Returning home, I mentioned needing to learn about sacred geometry to my mom, who handed me a book on the subject. The author suggested that the best way to learn about sacred geometry was to draw the figures for yourself and gave directions for creating each one. So armed with a compass and a straight edge, I started constructing each one of the simple geometric shapes. I soon felt drawn to explore various combinations of these basic shapes and began to add color to the designs. They quickly evolved into more complex drawings than I could have imagined. After the first few, I decided I was not meant to proceed in a logical, rational way, but realized that I had to open to inspiration, letting go of my conscious mind and allowing the shapes to form themselves however they would. A wide variety of designs started forming themselves and emerging as I watched my hands creating them. 72 drawings later, I realized that it was time to explore sounding the various shapes. So once again, I collected a group of people and we began to explore different ways of forming various geometric figures with our bodies while making different kinds of sounds to go along with each one of them. I also created slides of the 72 designs, and during concerts would invite the audience to tone some of them with me. Fascinating things began to happen. While toning this design, for instance, the audience made a very buzzy, hummy sort of sound. I was amazed as I had felt that same buzzy, hummy vibration while I was creating the geometric design. I began to wonder, could sound vibrations be conveyed through geometry? And could geometry be translated into sound? Was this some sort of universal language? It was quite fascinating to work with various audiences as they toned each of the different designs. I had difficulty explaining what to do in the beginning, but soon learned that once we got started, people took to it much more easily than I had ever imagined possible. After developing a basic familiarity with the energies of the basic shapes, I was then guided to create sound sculpture ceremonies at the times of the solstices and the equinoxes. We discovered that the creation of these sound sculptures provided the opportunity for humans to commune with the earth, receive her guidance, and align their personal energy fields with the energies of the earth for the coming season in very profound ways. Over time, a process evolved for creating these sound sculptures. Step 1 is for each member of the group to connect with divine and earth energies, and then with the spirits of that location, of that particular place. Secondly, we would ask to be shown what geometric shape was most needed by the earth at that particular place, at that particular time, and by the people present, in order to best align with the earth and divine energies, and to most greatly benefit the entire web of life. We would then sit and meditate and open ourselves to receive a vision of a geometric shape, and notice if there was movement, whether it was spinning, revolving, expanding, or pulsing, for instance. We would feel into what kind of sound would best activate the shape, feel what kind of energy it carried, and notice if there was any color or any other important vibrational information that needed to be included in its creation. Each person then drew the shape they had received, either on paper or in the dirt or sand, so that everyone else could see it. Each person became the keeper of the vision for their shape, for their particular piece of the sound sculpture puzzle. We all helped to create and activate every shape, but each person assumed responsibility for knowing how to best manifest and activate their shape, so that our group creation remained energetically true to the vision they had received. Over the years, we discovered many, many ways of manifesting these sacred geometric formations. In the beginning, we always used our bodies, but then sometimes I would be out by myself, or with just one or two other people, or a small group, and learned that we could easily form the shapes with rocks or seashells or kelp, or draw lines in the sand or dirt. We learned to listen for what was most wanted at that particular time, what was most beneficial and would best align with the energies that were wanting to be brought forth in that particular moment. Sometimes we felt called to place crystals at the center or around at the corners. After figuring out how to create each person's vision, we would decide how the various shapes, with their accompanying sounds and movements, would best fit together. Sometimes they could easily be combined and activated collectively, and sometimes they told a story and needed to be created one by one in a particular progression. After rehearsing how each part of the sound sculpture was to be created, we activated it while carefully focusing on flowing energy through ourselves and into the earth, sending it out into the surrounding landscape to benefit all beings living in the surrounding area. This sound sculpture process opens a door that allows us humans to nourish the earth energetically. Creating these sound sculptures also nourishes us humans as we commune with the earth and align ourselves with her current rapid evolutionary process. For those attuned to the earth and her elements, creatures, forces, and subtle energies, the process of creating a sound sculpture can be absolutely magical. Any and all aspects of creation may choose to participate if acknowledged and welcomed. Over time, I have observed that this sound sculpture process offers an excellent model for how groups can work together to co-create and manifest just about anything. While I was in New Zealand, I had opportunities to work with moms and their daughters, and was amazed to see how easily these young children take to this sound sculpture process. They seem to understand it in ways that are beyond my comprehension. I have great hope for the future of humanity because of witnessing the depth of knowing these little ones carry so lightly.